We're back, part 2. This week's show, April 25th.
Yes, would have been my dad's 82nd birthday had he lived.
Oh
Yeah.
man, happy birthday!
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would
Big
have been my
baseball
dad's
guy.
94th, about a week and a half ago. So
There you go. So we got our love for
it
baseball
was
from our dad.
interesting. That's and my mom.
Yeah.
Your mom a baseball fan?
Well, she was because I played, but that's the only
That
reason.
was the only no. Mine would sit there and call me up in the press box and ask me why they were making a pitching change.
Absolutely.
I kid you
Speaking
not.
of that, we talked a little bit about college baseball, and just briefly, did you see how Kentucky went about their pitching last weekend?
That first game, they didn't want it.
That was weird. It was weird. I mean, take the guy out, but I guess they had their reasons. But anyway, they started.
Johnny,
They started a reliever and pitched him 2 innings, and then took him out.
After when he was 6 up, 6 down.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Well, no, he had walked. He had walked one and hit one.
No, he was perfect. He was 6 up, 6 down.
I thought he had put the first 2 guys on, then they switched.
No.
You sure?
He was, yeah. No,
Okay.
he was perfect. And they were saying it was one of his better outings. And then Mangione, well, you don't be surprised if you see him later in the week. Well, you don't save a guy who's doing well, even, I don't know. But
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, and they didn't. It wound up costing them in the 3rd inning. The guy couldn't find the strike zone, the reliever. The Gators jumped on him, and next thing you know, it was 9-0, and the game was
Game's over.
Game's over.
All right, so let's get to some pro baseball.
American League.
American League.
American League. Okay.
Right.
You got the Red Sox had the big win streak, and I'm sure they're still in first place. Are they not?
They're in first place.
They are
They
still
are
in first place.
Yep.
And the Yankees last week, Giancarlo and we said it right here. What Giancarlo is doing, he does every single
You're
year.
gonna have a slump. Get used to it,
Get
Yankee fans.
used to it because his
And he's
slumps.
gonna get hurt.
He didn't last
He
year.
did last year, but he's
See,
right. That was the
no,
anomaly.
see, I totally disagree with that.
He's gonna get hurt.
I think Giancarlo's injuries have not been the chronic, he's going to get hurt injuries. It's getting hit in the face with a fastball.
That was brutal.
It's just been odd, weird stuff. It's
He's gonna
not
get
like
hurt.
the guy's got back problems or hamstring problems.
He's going to get hurt.
He's gonna get hurt.
I'm just telling you. I don't know what he did to somebody in Cuba who went down to their local animist and put a curse on the But he's gonna get hurt. Somebody's got something against John Carlos. You know what I'm saying?
You can't say that in this day and age.
Why can't I?
It's to crack on Cubans like that? You're
No,
you're
no. Anybody in the
stereotyping.
islands. It could have been any
You
island.
didn't say islands.
Well,
you
where is
said
he from?
Cuba.
Where's he from?
Los Angeles.
Where's his heritage?
Los Angeles.
Okay.
I don't know.
Somebody in Los Angeles then. You always say he's Cuban. That's why I
I've
said
never
that.
said Giancarlo's Cuban.
I thought you did.
Yeah, you did.
No way.
Yes, you have.
I thought you did.
Yes, you have.
I thought you did.
No, I'd be calling him Stanton.
Well, whatever. Anyway,
I don't call him Stanton.
Anyway, somebody's got something against the boys. All I'm saying, because
think
they're
he's
always freak accidents. You're right, but
he
there's
hasn't had one in a couple years.
1 year.
Do you think Yankee fans right now, I mean, obviously they're booing him, are disappointed? I mean, they should be more disappointed in their bullpen.
Well, they don't know what
but their bullpen has stunk it up. But, I mean, do you think the expectations, oh my gosh, we have Maris and Mantle, we have Ruth and Gary now.
They won 14-1 the other night.
I
Come
know,
on,
I know.
let it go.
Well, that's what I'm saying is, but don't you think New York
He's
fans...
got, what, 5 home runs now?
5, yeah.
5, yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
horrible.
And
Who else on the team has 5?
How many does Judge have right now?
Probably more than 5.
I didn't look.
Truthfully.
But my point is, don't you think Yankee fans are the expectations are a little unrealistic?
No,
Well,
Yankees fans are always
What happens...
Yankees and
this
Red
happens-
Sox always expect to be
Sox.
first and second. One
Red
of the
Sox,
two.
yeah.
Any sport, you watch teams and you know your team and you expect them to do the good thing all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what can happen because you've seen when Giancarlo goes into a slump
Sure.
or whatever.
I think
Now-
the Yankees are going to win it. Put me
Now-
down. Put me
Put
down.
him down for New York.
Put me down for New York. Yankees.
Now,
Yankees.
well, what teams always do when you get someone
Look
is
at
you
Yankee
look
fans.
at you look at the highlights and you look at what he did, and he's the MVP, and he hit 52 home runs
59, yeah.
and what
59, yeah.
50, and he did all that stuff, and then what you don't know is that in April he was 6 for 37.
Right, exactly.
He could get hot and hit
Yeah.
30 home runs
Exactly.
down the
He
stretch.
could.
That is Giancarlo. Get used to it because
Yeah.
that's what's going to wind
And
up.
what you
happening.
said last week is so true. And what having been
Who you going
blessed,
to pick?
I got Boston.
I got Boston too.
Okay,
I
all
like
right.
Boston. I really do. I think, and of course, that's the kiss of death. So
Yeah.
it's going to be the Yankees.
It's going to be the Yankees.
So, But I mean, I like him. I mean, getting blessed to watch him as a Marlin, and you see him carry, like you said last week, he could carry the team for 2 or 3 weeks by himself, and I think that's going to happen in New
Then his
York.
back gets tired.
I just don't think New York's pitching is good enough. I
we'll
really
see.
don't. I don't think their bullpen is good at all.
We'll see. Central.
How important is managing in the major leagues?
Nah, not as important as everybody thinks.
See, and your thoughts?
I think it's more important in a way off the field than it is on the field. Because you think about having.
How can the Cubs stink it up? Joe Madden. What Joe Madden
Not
did.
just Joe
It's not
Madden.
just
though.
Joe Madden.
What Joe Madden did at Tampa Bay was all Joe Madden. Okay, that.
Nah, that might have been true. All right, I give you that.
and all of a sudden, yes, he had Evan Lund. All those guys would not have played to the potential that
Right.
Joe
That's what I
Madden
mean.
in Tampa Bay trumps Joe Madden in the Cubs, and Joe Madden broke the curse and won.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
But he didn't do it by himself. He had Theo there, and I think some of the roster moves that Theo made was pretty impressive to get him the talent to win.
Yeah.
They had
They had not had that much talent.
They did it for Lou Piniella.
They did not have that much talent for the Cubs.
That was the year they had like the best pitching staff in the world.
Wood and Pryor.
Yeah, they got hurt. Both of them.
No, they didn't. Not
Oh,
then.
okay. All right.
But
They-
not during the year, right?
Keep it
Department, they eventually got hurt
Right.
later on down.
Right.
But that, what year was that? 2003.
Well, that's a long time ago.
yeah, it's a long time
Nobody's watching this.
Okay, what about
live.
1969? What about 1969?
Still, I don't think they were as good then. They didn't win it, so there you go.
They were
They
very
collapsed.
good in
They
60.
were very good in '69.
They didn't win it.
And they had
win it.
Leo
They didn't
DeRocher as
Did they
their
win it?
manager.
And their
they
team-
didn't. No, that's the whole
huge
point.
collapse.
The general manager has given them talent.
Anyway, so I think the managing is
And the
important.
reason I'm saying
But the thing you
because
just said,
and-
'69 to 2003, that's a pretty wide gap. I mean,
no, but I'm saying every
84
10 or
were pretty
15
good.
years,
right?
they wind up getting tons of talent and they
Consistent,
should
though.
win,
Not
and
consistent.
they're not able to do it. Joe Madden was able to do it with the talent that was given him at the time. Terry Francona goes out and wins with the Boston Red Sox, and now the Cleveland Indians, since they got Terry Francona, are a completely different team.
Certainly, managers make a difference in the
Yeah.
clubhouse. I'm not going to say that, but I'm telling you this.
But it's affecting the
I'm
wins and
telling you this.
losses. Look at the Indians.
I'm telling you this. Well, look at the division they're in. They're the only team above 500
Yeah.
in their division.
Well, that's because they win.
They're the
other-
only team above 500, and they're barely above 500. The Central is the dwellers.
I'm giving it to Cleveland.
Go ahead. I will
And what
too,
are
because
you-
there's nobody else in that division
Well, I
that's
say
going to
Cleveland.
win.
Cleveland's
There
gonna
you
win.
go. And it's all because of Terry Francona?
No, it's all because the rest of the teams are not very good in that division.
No, wait. We all picked Cleveland, but we all
Kansas
picked
City.
St. Louis.
It's not playing well,
Huh?
No, Kansas City's not going to win.
And they could. I mean, you know, a lot of
but
teams
they're a
can come
good
back,
team.
but-
There's some good teams in that division.
But they're all under 500.
They are right now.
They're all under 500.
Kansas
Every
City's in
single
last
one of them.
place right now too.
Yeah, they're 5-16. You think they can overcome that? 11 games?
Wow, they may not be able to make 11 games. So.
That reminds me how the
We're
Braves were
in
when I was a kid.
April. Eddie, we're in
Every
April.
month counts.
It doesn't matter.
No game counts more than the other one, right?
If you're 2 games over 500, which is just playing
No
500,
game
listen,
counts.
If you're 2
more
games,
than this one.
if you're 2 games over 500, which is basically playing 500 ball, every month you're going to wind up making up those 11 games and get back at 500. But
Right, but that ain't
going to
be enough to win
Win
it.
it, right?
According to you, every
I'm
team
just saying.
stinks in that
I'm just
division.
saying, and it
and
won't be enough to
500
win it. If Cleveland plays if they play the same rate, Cleveland wins by 11. Right? Using your logic.
Okay, Texas. Are they any good?
Houston's going to win that division.
I think
Houston's coming back.
I think Houston has it. They're
Seattle?
Yeah,
No, not enough yet.
no.
Zanino's back.
But they got
off the-
Zanino, right? That's what
He's
I was gonna
coming
say.
back.
He's coming back. Yeah.
Not enough.
And I like the Angels. I mean, the Angels are playing.
They said
Not enough.
But I think
they said Zanino is the most important player, spoken by the manager, on that team. Your thoughts?
wow.
always catcher. If you got a solid catcher, I think he anchors your team.
That hits 25 home runs
If you got-
after he came up in June.
Yeah, if you get any kind of bonus offense from him, then yeah, that's what
He's
happened.
all D.
Well, that's what happened with San Francisco, and having their catcher. I think if you get a good catcher who's really good defensively and can add something offensively, then yeah, they become the
that's
most
a
important
bonus.
player.
Do you like when, as far as positions and you can play different things and everything like that? I know I remember Miguel Cabrera winds up going to third base because you signed Prince Fielder, and when the Tigers did that, and and all of a sudden, not that he was bad, but he wasn't good, and all of a sudden you got a defensive liability and everything like that. You've got Cano, and you go out and get D. Gordon and put him in the outfield. What when teams do that? And now you're in the outfield again. How does that affect you?
Well, again, like I was saying, I think it shows how much he really wants to play a game. When you've been an all-star, when you've been recognized as a starter at second base at any position, and then you move, I think it shows how much you really love the game. You just want to keep playing. And a lot of guys will just say, "Peace out, I'm retiring," and made their money.
And sometimes, but a lot of times that could be the case, and because I think D. Gordon's still young, still has a lot of career, and Miguel Cabrera moved to third base, and
Pete Rose.
Look at Pete Rose, look at Biggio,
Catcher to second base. I mean, it's been done. You can be all-stars in more than one position.
Rose was like the ultimate utility player. I mean, he played everywhere.
Outfield, first base.
And then probably the biggest one, when you sit there with two potential Hall of Famers, is when A-Rod decides to become a third baseman, and that part got cut off. And I think you said, you agreed with me. I think at that
He's a
time.
better shortstop, I thought. I did, and I think that he's the guy. Jeter wasn't going to move to third. Jeter was going to be at short. A-Rod, I don't think A-Rod got enough credit, really, for moving to third. And still...
I think A-Rod was a better shortstop as well.
He wasn't a bad third baseman.
I don't know if he was a better shortstop or not, but he certainly wasn't better for the Yankees.
They won a World Series. He won.
No, I meant, but they didn't move him. The Yankees didn't move. The Yankees didn't feel like he was a better shortstop, or they would have pressured Jeter to move.
I don't know. I don't know. I think I kind of think.
You can't tell me that the Yankees management would not put their best player at shortstop, who they felt was their best player at shortstop.
I think you have to look at who's going to be playing third, and I think they felt Jeter couldn't play third.
Maybe so, but then who's your better player?
Because A-Rod was a better defensive player,
Maybe.
was a better shortstop, and he can also play third.
Maybe. All right, so.
But that's the thing. So can the Mariners come back? Is it the Angels? Texas with Ohtani?
I'm telling you,
Angels have a ton. Yeah,
I've got Houston.
I think it's Houston.
Houston's again. I'm repeating.
I do.
I think they'll
I
come
think it's
back.
Houston.
And,
I think it's
look
Houston.
at this.
We agreed on 2 out of 3.
Houston.
Well, they don't play real baseball
Houston.
there, right?
With the exception of you and the New York Yankees, we've got nothing in the. We all got Houston. We all got Cleveland,
Right.
And the two of us have Boston.
Yeah.
What
And
about
we
the
all
Rangers?
can be wrong.
And you can talk about him later with the Angels. Is Ohtani a big reason the Angels are in first place right now?
Not on what I saw the last 2 times I've seen him pitch. I mean, the game not last night where he pitched 5 1/3, he looked pretty good. But the game before against Boston, he looked, he pitched
The
2
people
innings.
buying the baseball card must
They're
not be
buying them.
watching.
And we'll talk about that
We'll talk about
next week.
week.
We got a
We'll
little
cover
bit
that.
more.
Eddie's got
And
something.
Scherzer is one of only 3 guys that have been on staffs that have led the major leagues in the last 7 years in innings per starting pitcher on average. Every year it's gone down since 2010. It's gone down every single year. Last year the Nationals, 6.1 innings average for your starter. So when we were talking last
So you
week,
pitch into the 7th.
that's your average.
That's the average, right?
That's the average. I mean, a lot of times you're not. You're pitching into the 6th, maybe. And the average for the league is 5.5. So you're only pitching into the 6th inning.
Yeah.
Only pitching right at half a game as a starting pitcher, and that's dropped from 6 innings in 2010. The average was 6 innings. So starting pitching is becoming, I think,
And
less important.
Scherzer's team has led every year.
No. Scherzer's only one guy that's been in there twice. The Phillies, by the way, led 10, 11, and 12. They had a few studs on that team. They had Holiday, Hamels, and Blanton, and then 11 they had Holiday, Lee, and Hamels, and Oswald,
Lee,
and 12 they had
Oswalt, yeah.
Hamels, Lee, Kendrick, Holiday. He got hurt that year. Blanton and Worley were their starting pitching. That's pretty deep pitching. So when you think about that, and one of them, the Phillies obviously were managed by the same guy, Charlie Manuel.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I think it's philosophy of your managerial staff, and sometimes just the talent of the arms that you run out there.
Yeah, but I think it's also, I think what teams are doing right now, and I see it here at the college level, and I'm seeing it at the major league level, because there's a lot of pitchers where I just we're going through those baseball cards the other day. Bob and I were looking through some, and I don't know the pitchers. I know the starters, I know the closers, But if you consider every team's got 5 or 6 guys, I was reading right now. What was it? There was an average of 7 players on every major league team that is throwing over 95, and every team except for the Phillies, okay, has at least 2 guys that have hit 100 this year somewhere in their organization.
Right.
Okay,
It's gone fast.
But what's with those guys? Those guys are the guys that are throwing that 6th, 7th, and 8th innings, and those are the guys that they're throwing the 6th, 7th, and 8th innings this year and next year. But by the year after, they're not in baseball anymore because it's some brand new guy on a baseball card. Because the longevity of your career is about 2 years, so you better get to be one of those guys that throws 5 or 6 and has a decent career, or you better be that guy that throws 1 in the 9th inning and has a decent career, because those other guys are just disposable, and that's what baseball's become.
That's what it's become, yeah. And I just point out that I was wrong last week when I talked about the American League, the different managerial style, because of those teams, only 2 of those have been American League teams that led in the starters, which means that starting pitchers,
They're not throwing.
they're not throwing more. So admit it when you're wrong. That's what you got to do. If you make a mistake, you gotta
That's
own
where
up
we
for
were
it.
at. Look at that. I'm.
Wow, I know.
You're like
Hey,
shrugging
we
it
gotta
off.
go.
I'm accepting it. Yeah,
We gotta
you
go.
were wrong, buddy.
No,
You were
no,
wrong.
I give it to you.
Hey, play ball.
We'll see you play ball.